Jai Jinendra. Welcome to Adults Class 2, Practical Applications of Jainism. Let's start with the Nokar Mantra. Namo Aryantanam, Namo Siddhanam, Namo Ayaryanam, Namo Uvajayanam, Namo Loe Sadasabunam, Eso Panchan Mokaro, Sabha Pava Panasuno, Mangalavajja Sarvesim, Paramam Ave Mangalam. We seem to understand that we need to learn and we need to teach our children the value of $1. We seem not to understand that we need to learn and we need to teach our children the length of a minute. We know that saving cents adds up to saving $1, but we don't know that saving minutes adds up to saving hours. So I always like to start with the question to get your brain going and get your tongues moving so you don't go into passive student mode. So I will ask you this question to start. How long is a minute?
Depends who you ask.
Depends on your
Since it's 60 seconds, but
Yeah.
Right.
Depends
But that
on
would be like if I ask you how much is $1 and you tell me $1 is 100 cents.
right.
It doesn't tell me anything about the value of $1, right?
Yeah. The value of minute.
Yeah, depends on who you ask.
So we see there seems to be some subjectivity, you seem to be telling me. It depends who you ask.
And when you ask.
It depends when you ask.
Right. Like
depends
what I'm doing.
you're doing.
yeah.
Okay.
Like right before a test, right before something big happens.
Applying for a minute.
Trying to catch a train.
Which is the value of a minute.
Yeah.
So if I ask you if a minute is long or a minute is short, you're going to tell me it depends?
Yes.
That's your answer?
Yes.
That's the wrong answer. You might assume that it depends on what you're doing, but you live your life at the speed of your brain, okay? And no matter what you're doing, your brain is always moving the same speed, okay? So a minute is long no matter what you're doing because you're always thinking. Whenever you're doing something, you're always thinking. And a minute is very long from the perspective of your brain. Okay, so let's try to see if we can understand the value of a minute, because once you understand the value of $1, it becomes very hard to waste $1, right? So once you understand how long a minute is, my hope is that it will become very hard for you to waste a minute. So what are some ways we might understand how long a minute is? First, we could relate it to common activities, like how long does it take to brush your teeth, or how long does it take to make a cup of coffee? And then you kind of start thinking about how long things take, and you start noticing how long a minute is. You can associate minutes with familiar tasks, like once you start comparing things to bean burritos, you understand how expensive things are, right? Why would I pay $20 for that pizza? That's 20 bean burritos. You know? Why would I spend 20 minutes doing that thing? That's 20 things I could have been doing because I understand the length of a minute, just like I understand the value of $1, right? Another way you could understand the length of a minute is to practice counting. You just count to 60. And see how long that takes you. Chances are it'll take you a long time, no matter what you're doing. That reinforces the idea that, of course, a minute is made up of 60 seconds. Another thing I like to do is I like music. So I listen to music a lot, and that makes me realize how short my chores are and how much longer I spend thinking about doing them rather than just doing them. Because when we make our bed and I turn on the music, it takes one song. Okay, it takes a 3-minute song to make your bed. That's it. If I empty the dishwasher and I put on the music, I'm a little bit disappointed because it only took me 2 songs. I thought it was going to be a lot longer than that. It took me less than 6 minutes to take the dishes out of the dishwasher and put them away. That is a lot shorter than what I thought it was going to be. And so that helps me understand how much time I was wasting putting that chore off, not doing it, when it was only going to be 3 minutes. It was only going to be 6 minutes. So that's one thing that's really helped me. If I put music on while I do something, I notice how short it actually is, especially chores. Another thing to do to understand the length of the minute is to just look at a clock and look at the seconds ticking by, and notice how long it is, no matter what you're doing. Yeah, you're looking at the clock, so you might seem like it's short, but in fact, because your brain moves at a very high speed, it's not as subjective as you might think. A minute is an extremely long time.
So if your brain moves fast, does that mean time goes fast for you?
It means time goes slow.
Slow for you.
You perceive it as slower because your brain is moving fast. If your brain moves slow, then time seems to move faster. Okay, so this is a class all about doing, not about talking, so let's try to understand how long a minute is. So we have our timer ready. I want you to, can we set it for a minute? All right, I want you to count how many thoughts you have in 1 minute, and you can use your fingers if you have to. All right, ready? Go. Thank you to everybody just joining. We're counting how many thoughts we have in 1 minute.
Okay, so like back I've sent you and okay. They're both there taking the exam. It's open book, open notes.
Okay. So, how many thoughts did you have in 1 minute?
Plenty.
Don't even know.
Did you say plenty or 20?
No, plenty.
Plenty, right?
Could do some.
More than you thought or more or less than you thought you would
It's
have?
all over the place. So
Right.
Yeah. So probably the one that I paid attention would be probably about 8 to 10.
Right. But you noticed you had more
Oh,
that you
of course,
didn't
yeah,
pay
yeah,
attention
yeah.
to.
And then you-
We heard prayer and talking. You
Yeah.
heard me talking to the people. That certainly you thought about that. You wondered what the point of this exercise was. You wondered when the timer was going to ring. You wondered lots of different things. Right?
Right. Mostly just what would I say after this is over? What
Right.
thoughts do I have? Like,
Right.
it's just going all over the place. So trying not to think, but you think,
Right.
but not to think.
And now you start to understand how your brain can start to enslave you. Enslave your attention. Hi, come on in. Hi, how are you doing? I got a question for you. How long is a minute?
60 seconds?
That's right, yeah. But what is the value of a minute? Just like the value of $1.
So I would say it depends on what is it for. A minute can be too valuable for something or somebody, but I mean, for some other kind of work which is not that, the work itself, it's not valuable, then 1 minute doesn't matter.
Right. So we just counted our thoughts, all the thoughts we had in 1 minute. We just counted them. People were surprised that they had so many. So today we're trying to understand how long a minute is. So next, I want you to get out your phone, and let's start the timer, and we'll send a text to your friend or family member that tell them what you were meaning to do. I know you have some text you need to send. Let's start the timer. Okay, so I know you have to do it. Somebody needs a reply from you. You need to tell your family members you love them. Let's take a minute to do that.
Text.
Okay, chances are you've already done it and a minute's not expired, so you got to do it some more. You got to keep on going. You got to tell more family members that you love them. You got to catch up with more friends if you've already done it. We're not even close to a minute being over. Hi, come on in. We're all on our phones. Grab your phone. We're trying to understand the value of a minute. Is a minute gone?
Not yet.
No, you'd be surprised, right? Did anybody contact 3 people yet? It's easy. Okay, a minute's over. All right. How many people did you contact? 2? 3?
3.
Just 1? Okay, 1's good enough. Hey, come on in. Hey, how you doing? We're trying to understand the value of a minute. We just counted up all our thoughts we had in 1 minute. So surprisingly, people had maybe 20 to 50 thoughts that they were aware of. We just used 1 minute to tell our family members we love them. So we took out our phones and we contacted 2 to 3 people in 1 minute. All right? Anybody think we can meditate in 1 minute? Let's try it. Let's start the timer. Okay, take a deep breath for me. Focus on your breath. Breathe out. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Keep focusing on your breath. Keep taking deep breaths. Don't beat yourself up if your mind gets distracted. Bring your attention back to your breath. See if you can notice your thoughts and let them go, like we talked about last time. How do you let a thought go without paying attention to it? All right, 1 minute's done. Were you able to meditate for 1 minute? Did anybody think that was a waste of time? Hey, come on in. Do you feel different than you started? You do. So something did happen in a minute. Let's let her in. So that 1 minute was something, right? It wasn't nothing. You were able to meditate in 1 minute. Okay, you were able to do that in 1 minute. I'm going to take one and pass it down. Take one and pass it down. All right. So does anybody have any questions or comments on what we've done so far? We've done a minute to count how many thoughts you have. We sent a couple texts of people telling them we love them. We did 1 minute of meditation. You think you can clean your phone in a minute? You might can. Let's start the timer. Let's see if you can do that. You've been meaning to clean your phone, right?
Okay.
We are doing what we have been ignoring.
Right? You think you can do that? How long do you think it'll take you? You think it'll take you 10 seconds? Then you have 50 seconds to do nothing? All right, see, a minute seems pretty long, right? I'm done. Been done. I'm doing it again.
I'm like, we are doing things which we have been ignoring.
You might think that a minute depends on what you're doing, but it doesn't because you think at the same speed. A minute is long no matter what you're doing, no matter who you are, no matter what activity you're doing, even if it's a long activity, if it's an activity that takes 3 hours, a minute is still a long time because you think at the same speed. And every activity you do, you're thinking. Oh, a minute's done. Is that longer or shorter than what you were expecting?
That felt shorter.
Oh, shorter.
Based on how bad my
Your phone was dirty. You can put you can put your trash in one of those things and pass it. Okay, let's take another minute. How about we set a goal? Let's start the timer. How about we set a goal? What do you want for dinner today? Just write it down in your phone.
More than a minute.
No, it won't take you more than a minute. A minute is a long time. It will not. Well, you're still cleaning your phone. You need to stop doing that. Hey, come on in.
Is it that what we want to see or what we can make and eat?
No. Just figure out what you're gonna have for dinner.
What's the
today.
menu?
It's gonna take you less than.
Whoever has the best menu, I'm coming over to that.
It took me less than 3 minutes to make the bed. You'll be surprised it'll take you less than 1 minute to figure out what you want to have for dinner today. Write it down in your phone, in your nice clean phone.
I already knew what you were going to have.
Great. Perfect.
Good begin.
There you go. That's how long it takes to make a decision. So how much did you get done?
I just made upma. I'm done for the day.
All right. That's 1 minute. All right. We counted our thoughts in 1 minute. We were surprised we had more than 10 to 20 thoughts in a minute. We sent a couple texts in 1 minute. Right? Hey, come on in. We counted all our thoughts in 1 minute. We sent a couple texts in 1 minute. We meditated for 1 minute. Hey, let them in.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys were surprised we could meditate for 1 minute. We meditated for 1 minute. You felt different afterwards. Okay? I gave you some wipes and you cleaned your phone. It took you less than a minute to clean your phone. It took you 15 seconds. I asked you to figure out what you wanted for dinner. It took you less than a minute to do that. Okay, you think you can make yourself tired in less than a minute? I think you can. Let's set the timer. Let's do some jumping jacks. 1 minute. No, I need you to go hard. I need you to go hard. I think you can make yourself I think you can do it hard in 1 minute. If you push in hard, we're scared.
Right, it needs to go down.
All right, okay, you made yourself tired in 1 minute. You got some calories, you got some exercise. You're lucky I didn't make you do push-ups, that would have been harder. All right. Questions or comments about what we've done so far?
That was a long minute.
It was long?
It was.
Now you'll see how long a minute is. And it's long no matter what you do. Questions or comments about any of that?
Catching a breath.
I know. Take off my jacket.
We set texts we needed to set. We did a meditation. We cleaned our phone. We figured out what's for dinner. And we got ourselves tired. It took us 6 minutes. So now you might understand how long a minute is. And once you understand how long a minute is, you may think twice about wasting it. Does anybody know what micro lending is?
From the term of it, it looks like you're lending the minutest time or something, the smallest thing that you can give to somebody, whether it's time, money, any object.
Microlending is a very popular program of giving very small loans, usually in countries where the value of a dollar is very high. So you might think of giving somebody a loan like, oh, I need to take a $300,000 loan to buy a house. But microlending is like, I'm giving a member of my community $50 to buy a cow. Or I'm giving one person is giving somebody $10 to do something.
Giving or lending?
Lending. And it's been very popular, okay, especially in underdeveloped countries. So I'm telling you, you can set micro goals. We've been setting goals a lot in this class. A lot of you have been here and we've done this for an hour, right? We write down our goals. It's very hard to do, right? But you can set micro goals for yourself. We just did all those things in 6 minutes. What's stopping you from creating a goal that's a minute long? If you want to do exercise for a minute. If you want to take a minute to clean your phone. If you want to take a vow to not be angry for 1 minute. If you want to take a vow to say Dinokar mantra for 1 minute, you might be able to do 20 of them in 1 minute. Well, there's nothing stopping you from setting a micro goal. And I'm pretty sure none of you have ever heard that term, because I just made it up 10 minutes ago. Okay, what else can we do in a minute? Let's keep it going. How about we check the news? Okay, start the timer. Let's check what's going on in the world for 1 minute and see if that's good enough. You can go to your favorite news site.
No. Yeah.
It's good for you.
You can look at the latest headlines. Trump and Nikki Haley, Israel and Hamas, wars,
Inflation data, big tech earning.
Winston Churchill's wartime false state going on the auction block next month.
Interest rates are going down.
Okay, there's a minute. How much time do we waste on the news when we could spend 1 minute on the news and be caught up with the headlines, right? Anybody want to do something in a minute they've been meaning to do? You want to set a minute right now? Set a micro goal right now? How about we update our picture? How about we take a nice picture of ourselves? Let's set the timer and let's take a picture of ourselves for our LinkedIn profile or whatever. Grab your phone, take a nice picture, smile. Okay, we've been meaning, we don't take enough pictures of ourselves. We've been meaning to do that. We can go high so you don't look up your nose.
Yeah. Okay.
He didn't say that. If you do it, you cannot do it again.
Shouldn't take too long. Can get multiple shots. A minute has not gone by yet. Can you believe you have 60 of these every hour?
No.
Can you believe
I know,
that?
and yet some people have a problem taking one picture.
Look, you guys have time left over. Maybe we should set 30-second goals, not minute goals. Now,
6 pictures.
there's a minute. That's how long a minute is. That's how much time you've been wasting your whole life. You could have been setting 30-second goals, but you don't. You could be setting minute goals. You can double it. It'd be even more time for you to accomplish what you want. Questions or comments about that?
I think I have lack of motivation.
Lack of motivation? There you go. You're doing it because I'm telling you to do it, right?
Yeah.
And because we're all here and we're all doing it. But it's hard to do it when you're alone. It's hard to do it when you get out of these 4 walls and when you go out and you got family, wanting your time. You have your work wanting your time. Imagine if you had your time to yourself. Imagine if your time was your own, what you could do with it. Imagine if you were motivated with your time. I would like to do that for you. I would like to follow you out of this room and say, you should be doing this. Now's the time to pray. Now's the time to eat. I would like to do that for you. I cannot do that for you.
Is it motivation or discipline?
That's a very good thing. I used to think they were different. They were the same. And I thought it was just semantics, just the same thing. But then I understood that they're different. Because I understood that going to the gym for me was discipline and not motivation. Because I was relying on motivation, feeling like going to the gym. That's different than going to the gym no matter what, which is discipline. So I do think they're different things.
So which one you need more?
Discipline. Yeah. You can get rid of motivation your whole life. That's a goal that you should have.
Like going to gym doesn't matter that if you're not working out properly, what you're supposed to. You
Guess
need
what?
motivation.
Guess what?
When you go-
I find that if you end up going to the gym, by the time you're there, you'll work out properly. And even if you don't, even if you say, I'm just going to go, that's fine, as long as you go.
Yeah.
And then you still like, I still don't feel well, I'm just going to leave. Then just leave.
The hardest part is starting or getting there,
Yes, getting it.
getting up to go.
Of course.
Yeah.
The hardest part of every journey is the first step. I wish I could do that for you. I wish I could. I can't. I only get this 1 hour with you, and that's just once a week, and it's not even every week. But if I can light your candle, show you how long a minute is, show you how much time you're wasting in your whole life, maybe you'll start to do it yourself. Other questions or comments? What does that have to do with Jainism? That's what we're theoretically here to learn about. Anything you learned today have anything to do with Jainism?
That actually, if you manage your time well, for me, pretty much it helps me, the aggression or things you want to do but you cannot do, and then you're frustrated. This actually managing time really helps.
Right.
You can achieve, and I don't do micro goals, but I do set an hour or 2 hour or a day goal, right? I want to achieve, I write it down a day before that I have to get this done. And thanks to you, I'm very vocal about it. I tell my wife, my kids, my co-workers that I have to get this done today. I'm not coming home. I tell Sheetal, I'm not coming home till I get this done today.
Right.
So don't call me or text me.
Controlling your own time, you found leads to less kashaya in your life.
Okay.
Right. You're getting angry less because you're controlling your own time.
Right.
You're not letting Sheetal control your time. You're not letting your kids control your time. You're not letting work control your time. You're controlling your own time. How you doing? What else? Anything else you learned today have to do with Jainism?
I think we sometimes have the tendency to procrastinate, unnecessarily delay things which are not really, will not take that much of time. So at least that happens with me. Even like small things, I keep pushing, even though it should not take, sometimes it just takes 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But in my mind, I feel, though, it's just such a big task. I'm gonna do it tomorrow or something like that.
Exactly.
So
Why would you put off a 5-minute task for 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We've all done it.
yeah,
But maybe now that you understand how long a minute is, maybe you won't put it off.
Sometimes it's not putting it off. Sometimes you have more than one task.
Right.
Sometimes you may not be understanding the criticality of priority over the importance. And that's why you are always working around and you don't estimate it correctly and you end up doing something else. And then you get frustrated that you didn't finish what you wanted to do.
Right. And so it's the sheer enormity of all the tasks that we have. It's hard to get started on one because then we have to spend mental overhead, administration time, call it, to prioritize it and then pick one and then actually do it and then rearrange that whole list we made and then pick the next most important one. It's just a gigantic pain, right? Yeah, that's exactly right.
It's just an excuse. Like you think, it's going to take so long. I don't have time to do it. But like you said, in 2 minutes you can unload the dishwasher. But in your mind, you are just thinking, it's going to take forever for me to do this task.
Right.
And not understand. Like for me, I'll say, I don't want to do puja or meditation every day because it takes so much time.
Right.
In a minute you can do it. And a minute is easy to spare in a day. For me, the biggest thing was working out. I hated working out. I never did in my life. I just recently started doing it. And, when people say, oh, it's 1% of your 24 hour in a day that you have to do exercise, that you can do it. But then again, it's just always the excuse, oh, I don't have a time to do that. It's not that hard to find the time. It's just thinking of it that you don't want to do it and you're just making excuses.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So Jainism teaches us about aparigraha, right? Non-attachment, right? Can we be attached to time?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, how so?
I just want to relax, be on my phone, scrolling like Instagram or wherever, so.
We want to become detached from time. But strangely enough, the only way to do that is to understand the length of a minute. There's no better way to become enslaved by your kashayas than to dwell in the future or dwell in the past. You think about something and it gets you so worked up, and it's already gone. You're just thinking about the past. Or you think about the future and we create expectations, and as we all know, the cause of anger is the mismatch between expectations and reality, as we all know that. So by understanding the length of a minute, that will help you in your mindfulness, which is the goal, of course. I've talked your head off about mindfulness. But by understanding the length of a minute, you'll also understand how much karma you can accumulate. We did all those things. It took us 6 minutes to do all those things. So now you might know how much karma you can accumulate. And even better, once you understand how much karma you can accumulate in 6 minutes, you understand how much karma you can burn via nirjara in 6 minutes. And that's the point, right? The point we're here for is to get to moksha, and to get to moksha, we understand we need to perform nirjara to burn our karma. But it's always something we got to do later, right? There's always something we have to do now. But if I told you can do a tremendous amount in 6 minutes, would you believe me? Maybe not before today. But after today, you'll believe me about how much nirjara you can do in 6 minutes. Okay. So hopefully we've learned how long a minute is. It's very long no matter what you're doing. It's very long no matter who you are. It's very long no matter what task you're engaged in. It's very long no matter what else is going on in your life. So how do we apply what we learned today to our life? That is the point of this class. That's been the point of this class from the very beginning. That will always be the point of this class. Is you learned something today, what are you going to do about it? No, don't just nod. You got to tell me. Don't just nod and be like, oh, so wise. No, you got to tell me what you're going to do.
So we'll obviously consider the 1 minute as important for many tasks that we have.
No. Tell me about you. What are you going to do?
So we as in I.
No, not we as in I. What are you going to do about your life?
Decide what to cook.
Oh, perfect. I love that. Now that you know that it's possible, you're going to do it every day for one. That's all it'll take you. Mm-hmm. And how much stress is going to go out of your life if you just use 1 minute? How about it be the same minute every day? How about 9:32 in the morning? You go from 9:32 to 9:33. That's your minute to decide what's for dinner that day.
Agree. Before going to sleep earlier night, maybe I can think for 2 minutes for my lunch and my dinner, and I'm done in the morning. I know what to do in the morning right after I get up.
How much stress will that cause you to not have in your life if you do that? That's great. I love that. Who else? I want to understand, because I'm not going to, if you guys aren't going to apply this to your life, I'm going to give this up, okay? That is the point of this. So you got to tell me what you're going to do so I can come back here next week.
3 minutes of exercise.
3 minutes of exercise. I like that. A micro goal. Okay? A micro goal.
I've been meaning to read this book. I started, but never finished it. It was one of my goals, but couldn't finish it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start with the micro goal. Reading a minute a day, or at least
a minute a day. Great.
Pages, right?
Yeah.
A day. That's not a lot. Every day. In the evening. So hopefully before going to bed.
It'll take you like a little over a month to read 100 pages.
Yeah.
That's so good.
Because I don't think I can. it's just hard.
That's all you got time for. It's just a minute a day, a minute of reading a day. Guess what? That's enough.
Yeah.
A minute is long enough. That guy's looking at his time. He's like, when is this class over? It's long enough. It's because you weren't here for all the beginning part. That's why. A minute is long enough.
At least the class.
That's good. I'm glad you're here. I'm just picking on you. Don't worry about it. I'm glad you're here. I don't care if you come in late. I don't care if you come in 5 minutes before class ends. I just care that you're here.
I'm going to spend a minute trying to clean my desk for the last 6 months. It keeps piling up at home. But the problem is, I spend a minute in cleaning, but I add more than the time, so it's never going to end.
Right. Sounds a lot like...
To get rid of desk.
We can make 1 minute list. I mean,
Ashish, I think, should be here leading this discussion because he's trying to teach you something, but it all flew over your head because you were laughing too hard. Sounds a lot like karma to me.
Yeah.
Okay? Sounds a lot like karma to me. He's trying to teach you something. He knows the answer to his question. I know that he knows the answer to his question. He's trying to tell you something. Sounds a lot like karma and your soul to me. That you spend a minute trying to clean it, but you spend the rest of your day getting karma. Other thoughts? How are you going to change your life?
I think it is always a good idea to start a day or, with your to-do list. I think the things that you have in your mind, and just note it down. Even if you can't finish it off, but at least if you have that and just put the priority, this is the task I'm going to do first, second, third, like that.
In the morning?
Yeah.
Every day?
Every day, yeah. So even if let's say you have 5 tasks, but you get to do only 3, then at least you have next morning, you have to start with the 3rd and 4th and keep putting those tasks. That's also kind of helps.
Love that. Okay. It's kind of like a physical reminder of what you should be thinking about in mindfulness. It lets you prioritize things, and you don't have to spend more than a minute on it. Like that a lot. So now maybe you understand about why I've been talking your head off about mindfulness. That is, why is the present moment so important? The present moment is all there is. And once you understand that, and once you understand how long a minute is, and how many things you can do in a minute, and you realize that each moment is unfolding, you can reduce your stress and anxiety because you're not worried about the future. Because a minute is so long. You're not worried about the future. You have plenty of minutes. You might have thought before today your life was short, but you're going to know that you still got a long time in front of you. You'll reduce your stress and anxiety because you won't focus on the future, and hopefully you've stopped focusing on the past. You'll enhance your productivity. I don't think anybody needs to be explained of that further. We just spent 6 minutes and we did 6 crazy things with time left over. You'll increase the quality of your relationships because the quality of your attention determines the quality of your life. And you'll be more present for the people that are close to you. You'll be more present in your interactions with them, and you'll have better quality relationships once you understand how long a minute is, and you can be engaged in a conversation. I won't be talking with somebody and be thinking about somebody else or be thinking about that person I need to talk to. I'll be present in that moment. And what dovetails with that is you'll enjoy all of your experiences more. And you'll enjoy mundane experiences. That's why, I used to think these monks, they live such boring lives, they just go and they meditate for 3 hours in the morning and they have 2 bites for lunch and they meditate for 3 hours in the evening. Then they clean the temple and they go to bed and they do it all over again. What kind of life is that, But they get so much more enjoyment out of that life than I get out of my life of hedonism. And now I know why. Because they have better attention than I do. They understand the length of a minute. The quality of their life is better doing mundane things because the quality of their attention is better than mine. Compared to them, I live a very distracted life, and I'm living a quarter of my life, and the rest of my life I'm in some kind of like fog, right? So now that we understand the length of a minute, perhaps we'll understand why I keep talking about mindfulness and meditation so much. Questions or comments about that? Questions or comments about anything we talked about today?
I think everybody.
Please.
I think everybody knows what is to be done, or like we discuss, how long is a minute. But somehow, I don't know. At least with me, it so happens that I, as he suggested, that make a to-do list in the morning. At times, I take a notepad by my bedside a night before, and because my thoughts keep going, so it will come to my, oh, I have to do this also, I forgot. So I just write it down there. But so if it's about an email, I'll go to that account of mine, and instead of going to that email, there will be few more emails that are there.
Yeah.
And I start doing that. So it's like you lose the track of what list you have made. It's not that the other things that I saw, other email I saw is not important. It
Right.
is important. That's
Right. Then you gotta rearrange that thing because you went in your email and you're like, I need to write this email, and it opened to your inbox and you have 5 things needing your attention.
I don't know how to tackle with that.
How can we help her? How can we help her?
First, do the thing that you came to the email to do,
So hard. So hard.
and then do the new stuff.
Like a discipline, right? I know it's hard. It's very hard to begin with, but my thing is, I have to cross everything I wrote up, and and I'm pretty sure you manage your time well. Where you see, it's going to take me 2 hours or 30 minutes or whatever it is. Then you have rest of the time, right? But if you inbox, you open up, it's always things to do.
Yeah, what works?
There might be 1 or 2 more items which really need your attention right away instead of
Then you can definitely
right? Yeah.
right.
Go with what we just did, right? With the timer, right? So if you want to check emails for 5 minutes, put the timer on it. It will remind you. Other part I was going to say is when I look at my priorities, there's always some values based on the money as well. So for instance, I have the list of things to do. But if I, let's say, pay the bill not on time, you're going to get late charges. Automatically, that becomes priority. So we don't need to tie money with everything, but subconsciously, we do continue to prioritize that. And if you have a free gym to go, somebody's offering free gym, it feels great. But if you pay for it, you will definitely end up going.
Right.
Again, that money goes into the motivation goes into the discipline. So it does happen. That's how I'm wired.
Right.
So the priority does change, and as long as you're conscious about it, I guess that makes it better.
Right.
I think
Good.
I think the biggest point, Timur, you made that resonated more with me is the distraction piece. I think that's where we can use that 1 minute or whatever time spent in a more quality manner, because I think what I try to do is in the morning I feel like I'm organized for Monday, and same thing, I start this while writing a response and I think I can get it done in a minute. There is another email popping up and I want to read that, and I start writing that, and then other person comes in.
Wow.
I think keeping the focus is the key, and it's very difficult because like the other email is more critical than this, and you are like, I need to do this. The other person just enters your office asking for something, and so I think the distraction needs to be taken out, and then you can enjoy that 1 minute if you're focused on that.
Right. Because that's absolutely true, because it's about not being distracted in that minute that you're doing something. It's all fine and good to set a goal, but then you didn't accomplish it if you got distracted during the goal.
If you're not focused, then still it's you may have achieved the goal, but maybe not in a the right manner.
Right. And you're getting upset because other people are controlling your times, right? Not yourself. And what I like about Kinjal's philosophy of you can't do anything else until your list gets done. If, let's say, Kinjal was getting distracted, he's got a list of 5 items, right? And he's working on item 3. And he got distracted. And so now something came in and he's doing that. He's still got those 2 items on the list. So he can't go home until he does the 2 items. And if he's there all night, he's going to have to skip dinner. And then so those become like more motivating. He's like, oh, I can't go home until I do this. I'm not going to listen. That helps him with the distractions. Like, if I can't go home, then I'm just going to focus on these last 2 on my list. So I like how that works.
But I try to do that, and then I hold myself back in the office because I want to do those things. And what suffers is me going to the gym.
Right.
And that's the lowest priority that becomes somehow, right?
Yeah,
because that's something it's not that enjoyable.
Actually, gym is the 5th one on the list.
Yeah, that's actually the answer. It's, well, I can't do it until I go to gym, and I can't have dinner until I go to the gym, and I can't. Yeah, that's the answer, is to put it on the list.
The other thing I would add is
just over there.
Good.
No, the office issue, it's there for all. So I keep a hard stop for office work after 4. I don't do additional meetings. And after 4, I don't do office work. That's what
Amazing if you can do that.
it's.
Yeah, meetings. If somebody has put it on your calendar, you cannot. What it's.
I'm back still.
No, actually, so the work, everybody has the same work situation, right? Like you always feel that you have to finish this before. But I think what has worked for me is that I always feel that work is infinite. It's never going to stop. So, like you said, you have to put the hard stop. If it is done, it is done. If it is not done, there is always tomorrow. You should not, you should not cut down your gym time because there is always going to be work.
And one thing about setting boundaries at work is people slowly start to realize that you have that boundary. Like, oh, he doesn't do anything after 12. Like, don't schedule anything.
Yes.
Then they'll start to rearrange their schedule to fit your schedule to accommodate your boundaries. I think you'll find that both work and family will do that for you.
Also, you can block out your own calendar
Yes.
to do work. So nobody else schedules a meeting at
Exactly.
that time. So that works for me.
That also worked along with this is delegation. So I learned a couple of years back is how to delegate. So if there's some task on your thing, right, that you can delegate and get somebody else to do it, makes your list shorter. So
That's a very good thing.
All right, so we all understand how long 1 minute is. We have 10 minutes to make an absolute final decision on what we're having for lunch on February 4th. So I'll turn it over to Kinjal.